you watch to actually jump in and start watching.
Okay,
When you
yeah.
look on the phone, but yeah, it's crazy. It's Do you personally? I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about this later on as well. But do you personally think that the bull market's over or it's still going?
Um, I think it might have a bit longer. I think I might
Mm-hmm.
be, like some people are talking about March. Like the
Yeah.
springtime. I'm thinking. I think it. I think it was slow, like November and early December, but
Mm-hmm.
it seems like it might pick up again, maybe come January time. But um, yeah, it might. There might still be a little bit, but I think we have to be careful at this point. Like anyone entering at this point now, like newbies, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
don't throw all your
Don't throw a
money like at
ton.
once. Like if you've got like a specific amount you want to throw in, kind of,
Mm-hmm.
maybe again, it's not like financial advice, like I always say, but it's like maybe consider two, three different entries as opposed to like one chunk. It might come handy at times.
Yeah. The reason why I normally would just tell people, like, don't just wait till for a few months or a few years or whatever to get in or something like that. But the problem with that is with new people, right? We're not talking about professional investors or anything like that. We're talking about just random, everyday
Yeah.
average people like friends and family. Uh, they tend to they only pay attention to it once every few years when it's like, oh, it's all in the news. They're like, oh, I should really get into that. How do I get into that? And then if you like wait a year or two, it's not that they're not interested anymore. They're just not in their brain anymore. So if you have some, you're invested. You're mentally invested. And so if someone says, let's just say they buy $200 worth of Bitcoin like now, and
Yeah.
then in a few years it's worth like a couple years it's worth like $100 because the market goes down, but at least they have some and now they're interested in it, and then they know how to buy more, and then they buy more then, and it you gotta we gotta sell. I guess if you're talking about sales, right, like you gotta sell to people when
Yeah.
they're ready. You can't just be like, well, hey, wait a little bit. It's like, so the same thing is like, it's just like with, if people get really motivated to start working out and they do that in January 1st, right? Or January 2nd, right? New year, new me, and they hit the gym. Of course, it's better to be working out when no one's there, but it also helps to like just get started. Whatever gets you started gets you started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it gets you going with the process. Obviously, there's lots to know about. People think
Mm-hmm.
like getting into like Coinbase and they leave their cryptos there and they think they're fine, right? Thinking
Yeah.
it's all within one. It's my wallet. It's like, what's your wallet? Coinbase. I'm like, "Ew." I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
are you like even in that, at least in that cold type
Mm-hmm.
wallet off Coinbase? Because it's like I say, just like it's like you go shopping, you go in and out, get your money in that exchange, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
get that crypto, and then as soon as you, because sometimes there might be a few days that you need to
Mm-hmm.
keep it there before you can withdraw the crypto. But as soon as you can, just take it, put in a nice wallet like the Dash wallet, whatever the case may
Mm-hmm.
be, and
Yeah.
take control of it as soon as you can.
Yeah. And that's been one of the more challenging things, is to try to get new people, especially, to have a good backup strategy, because they're always losing the money. And even like for me, the problem is I try out so many different cryptos that like there's so many different like password like recovery phrases, and then some things don't have recovery phrase. You just have to save something in an encrypted text file or something. And I like there's so many things around that I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose some money at some point just from
Yeah.
holding my own keys. So for some people, like managed stuff like custodial solutions are actually better. The problem is like I wouldn't trust everything you have to that. I would like learn how to take the time to learn how to do this correctly.
Yeah, exactly. And then you would end up with like PayPal, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it might be easier, right? So someone's taking care of it, like a bank. Like people are used to that.
Yeah.
Put your money in the bank, and then It's not that it sits there, but at least you don't have to preserve it. They have their own safety stuff going on, right? So somebody's taking care of it. Obviously, you pay fees, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so people don't want to have to manage, like, I don't know, like 100,000, and then, oh my god, like, it's off a few
Mm-hmm.
words, right? If I lose that, then it might be gone, right?
Yeah, I mean, I
So
was
obviously
just
that's a concern for some people.
yeah, and I have had it before where I've written down a seed phrase, um, I guess incorrectly, and had to like figure out and guess a couple words. But it was something I wrote down quickly. It was for my Bitcoin Lightning node that I don't have anymore, and so
Yeah.
I just wrote it down quickly. And then I was like, "Oh, what is this word?" And turns out that like it was half the word, and then the other. I finally got it. It was fine. But anyway, it looks like we do have a couple people watching, especially my
Oh,
friend
nice.
Hilawi is watching. Hey, Hilawi, how's it going? And yeah, I
Hey.
mean, this is gonna be it's gonna be a good one. So let me just roll the intro thingy, and
Yeah.
then we'll get right into this. So hey everyone, and happy Friday. Not Friday. It's not even Friday. Happy Thursday for a change, everyone. Welcome to Digital Cash Rundown. We took a break last week, but we're back, and that's nice. I'm joined by my good buddy Sylvain Cloutier. How's it going, man?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on. It's great. First time on, so
Yeah,
perfect.
absolutely. I would have had you on plenty early, but you've had work schedule conflicts and stuff. So, because if
Yeah.
not, I would have had you. So it's not that I'm that rude. It's just, you know,
That's
it's just that it
okay.
didn't
That's
it
okay.
didn't actually work out for a while. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, oh, and Pozo's watching too. Hey Pozo, how's it going? So for a few orders of business first, like, comment, share, subscribe, all of the above. You're probably watching this. If you're watching this on YouTube, in the description should be the Odyssey link. I prefer people watch on Odyssey, but you can watch both. In the Odyssey link, there's a link to the YouTube channel in case it doesn't work for whatever reason. So you got both covered. If you want to join the live crypto super chat, there's the coin tree on the screen there, cointr.ee/the desert lakes. Ask a question, and I can pop up the chat. And so, actually, I'll pop up the one that was not during the live show. It was just a few days ago. The Bitcoin Cash podcast. I was on their show, and they monetize the show, and then whatever they give part of the monetization to whoever their guest was. So this is what they gave me, which is very nice of them. Thank you very much, Bitcoin Cash podcast. Good show, great guys, and yeah, you could put your message here too if you want. But anyway, um, it's basically like 2 days before Christmas, so things are getting a little slow. But it's been a crazy year so far, for crypto especially, and definitely in a different way. Things are definitely going in a different direction than I might have anticipated, because I think we're finally starting to hit what one could call the precipice or the edges of mass adoption, but not in the way we really thought, where like almost no one still spends crypto like as real money in a daily life,
Hmm.
but a lot of people have exposure to stuff. And in this case, let me hit this first headline here. Global search interest for NFT surpasses crypto for the first time ever. Now, Cointelegraph Research predicts that non-fungible token sales could eclipse 17.7 billion by the end of 2021. And it's like for the first week ending in Christmas, the global searches for NFTs have actually passed briefly for crypto in the search trends, which is pretty interesting, because I remember when crypto eclipsed Bitcoin specifically, which is just a natural thing of the natural consequence of the space growing up. But it's kind of crazy that NFTs have gotten under this huge level on that the average everyday people seem to be clicking with, that they don't understand crypto with. Oh, what is your initial reaction to this?
Yeah, it's kind of the way you expressed it. Like, it turned out to be like a different year than
Mm-hmm.
we thought. Essentially, like, it started. Was it with Dogecoin essentially, like, at first, and
Oh yeah.
then rolled into Shiba Inu, and then NFTs, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
within that, and it really turned into like a NFT slash Shiba Inu kind of year. So
Mm-hmm.
the memes and NFTs um, might it might become it might be a bit surprising in a way, but I guess people get into that more easily, I guess, than just like adopting, like, let's say, a
Yeah.
Dash or a Bitcoin Cash. It seems that I don't know if it's people like the gaming engages a bit more people, and they kind of get into that, and in hopes of making great returns, especially with and then lately the metaverse type coins like Sandbox and Decentraland. It was really like focus on that. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it's kind of that kind of year. Is it surprising a little bit? But at the same time, I guess it was bound to happen in a way. But,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I'm not sure exactly how to judge that, but it might. But it seems like it's yeah, getting really close, like you mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty strange. It's pretty strange if you think about it from like what we already know about crypto. But if you kind of zoom out a bit, crypto is just fungible tokens, and so non-fungible tokens it's the same thing as crypto. It's just unique pieces. And I think that when you like, it's kind of analogous to the ICO boom of 2017, where people realized that they could issue their own tokens on their own chain for their own platform, and for example raise money and equity and stuff like that from it. And of course that ran into a couple of issues later, which was the tokens actually didn't have anything to do with what they were raising money for. They were essentially useless tokens, just like a money grab, like because you had to trust the company would say, "Hey, if you have this token, we'll like do something," but usually it just wasn't worth anything. And NFTs are sort of the same. And the second part of that, of course, is regulators. They viewed ICOs a lot of times as illegal securities, which of course crypto is supposed to be outside of. Like it's not supposed to be like legally conforming necessarily. Even it should be outside of that. You do whatever you want with it. You got to figure out how you're going to comply with laws once you have it. But I feel like NFTs are sort of like the second round of that right now. Like as a concept, they're much more, but like as a right now, it's everyone is issuing kind of their own little ICO that, because they're collectibles, because you can already do this with art, they're not going to have the same legal repercussions as say the ICO boom did, and they're just finding a new way to just monetize stuff. And
Yep.
it's kind of interesting because uh, people I've sort of had a long, hard time over. It took me way too long, probably because I'm stupid, to wrap my head around where all the money in crypto is going and why is it. But it's really that simple. It's people want to make money. They want to, and it's not like they want to gamble necessarily. Sometimes they do, but just they want to be able to make money. And if you have a new money, if this is supposed to be the money in the world, what everyone wants from money is to make it and then eventually spend it. And people are just finding a new way of doing that. And I guess I didn't realize how hard it is to just make money in the fiat system, where it's just so easy to just sell a bunch of NFTs or make your own token or whatever to just raise a bunch of money for whatever project you're doing. And that's what people really want to do. They want to just make and earn. And then they're going to end up spending.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's I think it's most of the crypto adoption at this point. It's still, like the casino type trading,
Mm-hmm.
memes, make money fast. And obviously building, people don't want to spend the hassle of spending too much time, building companies and stuff like that. So yes, you see a bit of that, but it seems to be like, okay, how can I turn around like a quick $1,000 into like 20 plus Ks, right? Within a few days, right? Or even like over a period of few months.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is what it is. I guess it's still, I guess it probably it's bound to start like that, and then eventually, it'll be harder and harder to make money that way. With crypto, once a lot more people are involved in it, so there might be slight window of occasion at this point to get into like the NFTs now, metaverse, but it won't always be like, people will still be looking for the next shiny thing as well,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, what
And
I'm
I see.
go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, and I see a lot of even people like I did some kind of affiliate marketing and so on, or
Mhm.
at least I tried. And then I see a lot of people getting into the crypto because they can make money off that, right? Either by referring like a wallet or like crypto.com. Like if they sign up, they get $25, and so on to get the ball rolling that way. So I see a lot more people, and you see a bunch of experts now in cryptos, but are they though? Like not really. They're just kind of experts at trying to make money and refer other people doing so, and then get the ball rolling that way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I think things will mature pretty soon because right now it's pretty easy. I wouldn't say like really easy because nothing's easy, but it's pretty easy to make a lot of money in crypto. Not necessarily like any idiot can kind of like buy a bunch of random coins in a bear market or on the way up, kind of like sniff out the headlines and just see, oh, like this is big. Oh, but everyone's talking about Solana. Solana's the, oh, I'm going to throw a bunch of
yeah,
money in there, and then they make a lot of money without being a very smart investor, for example, or they just say, I heard that you can make so much on Pancake Swap with the this DeFi that, and like they just can. People who don't really have a lot of capital or a lot of education or a lot of intelligence can still make a lot of money because there's just so much to
mm,
be made because it's so new still. But at some point, pretty soon, maybe starting with this next bear market that's coming, it's going to be a lot more difficult to just, play the casino and make a bunch of money. And then people are still going to want to make money, but the ways they make money they're going to have to work a lot harder for it, which means they're going to have to do a lot more research in what they invest in. They're going to have to deal with much lower, I guess, APY and stuff on like DeFi and things like that. They're going to have to not just buy any NFT that comes by them and then just resell it. They're going to have to only like buy NFTs from good creators, good quality NFTs from good creators that they know will go up in value over time because this creator grows. They're going to have to be more careful. They're going to have to, invest in projects that have a lot of everyday use and have growing use so that then the transaction fees or the exchange fees or whatever builds up and ends up still making the money across, a long period of time. So it's just that I think a lot of the insanity we're seeing today is just people that are it's too easy to make money in crypto, and so they're just doing this the easiest way to make money, but eventually they're going to have to work harder for it.
eventually, and then or people like building like companies or whatever that actually offer a service. Like you see people using fiat, building like a legitimate
Mhm.
business sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because what I wanted to say is like even for some altcoins, like Bitcoin went up as BTC, right? Ethereum went up big time, and then a bunch of other projects, obviously,
Mhm.
maybe like whatever's in the top 100 at this point. But a lot of altcoins haven't seen a bull market yet, so they're even lower priced than some of them I purchased like over a year ago or whatever, right? So is that the start that less and less will be part of that bull run? You know what I mean? Because it seems
Yeah.
like a lot of coins have gone up, but a lot like have decreased, or even like have not even had a bull market at this point. So yeah, it's I think it's a start of maybe the market is changing a little bit.
Mhm.
Is it because people are mostly focusing on the main ones, or is it announcing something else? Are they focusing on NFTs rather than older coins? It's hard to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of this like there was a time when I guess like the 2013 um maybe 2013 to 24 like that kind of era of bull market where obviously everyone cared about Bitcoin and then Ethereum came along and some other coins. But like in 2017 was the first one that people started really gambling on a bunch of different projects, really speculating a lot. And I think that a lot of projects just got randomly pumped. Like that was one of the first times that Dogecoin pumped because Dogecoin's been around forever. It's been, oh, everyone used it like a fun thing and stuff, but it kind of was dying out in 2017. But then I remember it had a few astronomical pumps just because someone was like, wouldn't it be funny if we pumped Doge right now? And then they just did it. And then I had a friend who had like millions of Doge, and he was like, "Oh shit, it pumped so high. I have enough to buy a house now." It's just like he didn't expect it. It just that was in 2017, and just eventually Elon just became like the next kind of Doge thing. But I don't think that alts are ever going to pump again. Honestly, I don't think that this like people are just throwing money into this old coin. I'm going to throw some money in and see what happens. Not really. There will always be a little bit of that, but I think people are going to be finding like the big networks and investing in them, or they're going to be just going into the next new thing, right? Like, for example,
Hmm.
all the Ethereum killers had their day in the sun. I don't remember EOS in the last cycle and Tezos a little bit, but now it's like Tezos and Cardano a little bit, but then Solana's stealing all the steam. And then you just have all those kinds of platforms, and Avalanche is up there, and just all these other ones that are just
Yeah.
it's the new crowd that people are into. And I personally think that the older crowd of coins and stuff is going to need, I don't know if they're ever going to get astronomical pumps ever again. I think they're going to have to just build utility slowly and build users and build everything else, and then the price is going to tick up over time. Like, it's been interesting to watch one of my the Travala token.
Yeah.
It's been interesting to watch that one because it has like utility, because you could stake it with I guess with the Travala company. You stake it, you get some
Hmm.
returns on the token, and then you get like discounts on flights and accommodation at the same time. So it's kind of worth it has utility, but also it's like you're speculating on the company, on an actual company with actual customers and actual profit. And so the chart, last time I checked, again, I'm not a chart watcher usually, but last time I
Yeah.
checked, the it just seemed to like be more steady growth and not like a big jump and a big dump type thing. And so I think that successful projects in the future will kind of look like that.
More like a steady curve up,
Yeah,
adjusting with the market, obviously, but not like some crazy like high pumps or whatever. Like, yeah, I think we're going to see some random coins here and there. Like, wasn't there
hmm
the other one? So there was Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, and then Floki Inu, Floki,
yeah.
whatever
Then
that's called.
there's
Yeah,
baby
so I think
Dogecoin.
yeah, I was like,
Remember?
oh well, should we throw $1,000 in that one just to see what what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? And then you
Yeah.
can revert it back to Dash or something useful.
Well,
But
we got a super chat here. Oops,
oh
I hit the wrong screen. Okay. Every bull market has an unexpected hype use case like ICOs last time around, NFTs this time around. Unlike ICOs, does Silva think that some of the NFT stuff will still be around or still be around in the bear market? What do you think?
if the NFTs will be there in the bear market,
Yeah, like, do you think a lot of
yeah,
the NFT stuff is still going to be useful during the bear market?
yeah, there might be like the solid ones.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even people were proposing. I think well, that was first discussed in the BSV community, but I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
it's discussed somewhere else. It was like tying kind of a physical object or
Mm-hmm.
whatever with the NFT. So let's say like a ball cap, you've got number one, and then you've got like the NFT that covers that, so it proves the ownership of that ball cap, or it could be like a house or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the case may be. If it's maybe something like built like that, like if it's not just not like a random like picture, like JPEG, like people say,
Mm-hmm.
I think there might be some utility to that.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just kind of a because like you said, like every chain, every like projects are kind of going into the NFTs now, and there'll be so many that is that going to be really useful? Like when people start dumping money because they want to either get ready for the next bull or they've lost so much in Dogecoin or whatever,
Yeah.
then they want to recoup a bit of that money lost, and then they'll just sell that stuff to or financial crisis might be happening and they might need money, so they might sell
Mm-hmm.
that stuff, and it'll probably be the first things that go. So is that going to be useful? Maybe in some case, but I think overall, like majority probably won't. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
Well, yeah.
think?
So people mostly being Ken Bozak. Shout out to Ken. If you haven't had Ken Bozak on your show, you should. He's a cool dude.
Oh.
But uh, he goes by the CEO of NFTs because he's been doing NFTs since like 2017, 2018, like way before it was a thing. And he's kind of convinced me to get into that eventually. Although the thing is, most NFTs now are like you go on some Ethereum thing, spend just a crazy amount of money, and just hope it goes up so you can resell them. And I'm absolutely not interested in that at all. But there is, for example, a Telegram bot that checks if you have a certain NFT in your wallet before letting you into the channel. And so if you sold, say, 100 NFTs of like your channel logo or whatever to people to sort of like raise money for the channel, or like it's like pre-buy donations, but you get exclusive access to like the Telegram channel, and then you can put up, you can use super chats from that channel instead of like, people right now like paying directly. It's like you already sort of pre-bought that. That's actual utility because you're paying for something. Not only are you paying to support a creator you like, hopefully, but you're paying for the utility to actually get in and start asking questions and get that kind of exclusivity. It's so I think that those kinds of NFT applications are going to really take off. The thing is, I think we're beyond that because with what is it, the ICOs, they didn't quite. So I think ICOs, I hate to say it like this, but the ICOs are kind of still alive and well, but they just evolved into DAOs, where people raise a bunch of governance tokens. They sell a bunch of governance tokens, and then you get to decide what happens. Or you get airdrop more tokens based on this, or like whatever. And like for example, like the Shapeshift DAO that they're making, I would call that like an ICO almost. Like maybe that's kind of a mean, disgusting way of referring to it, but it's
Yep.
a similar concept. And so I think that when you have NFTs that are tied in some for either they're NFTs that you just trust the company or the creator that they're going to give you something special for, like exclusive access, or they got to be something that's like a legit collectible, like not just, oh, I made a crappy pixelated thing and I just sold it. Like for example, if Jack Dorsey had made an NFT of his first tweet, that would be like a legit thing that would be valuable forever. Even just that someone made some random NFT of his tweet, just like that's kind of garbage, you know. So yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be
I thought they were
interesting to
working on
see.
that, weren't they? Like,
I think so. There's like so much being worked on. Like I hear Melania Trump is going to be doing an NFT thing on Solana, which is
oh
pretty
yeah, yeah,
interesting.
yes. I think I saw that. Yeah.
There's gonna be something all the time, and it's just when I heard like Mila Kunis talking about the Stoner Cats show she's doing, that she's exclusively crowdfunding that with NFTs, and then there will be the NFT holders get to decide where the story goes after that. It's like, okay, well, that's a very unique way of actually providing value to your audience in exchange for, selling the NFTs. I think that'll be cool. It's just that I think we're going to start to hit an area where the technology starts to become a little like stressed as far as NFTs. Like we have all this potential, but then people say, okay, well, I bought this thing on OpenSea. OpenSea goes down. I still have the NFT, but the image associated with the NFT is a broken link now, and it's just like dead. Ooh, that's no good. So we'll have to have
Yeah.
NFTs that are actually the images or whatever files actually on something like IPFS that will last. And then you have to have ways that are like programmed in that you have certain like utility. So for example, like say the Telegram channel thing, there has to be some sort of an open source Telegram channel or something like that where people can see and verify that this NFT ownership will always allow you in, that the creator won't change his mind and just say, oh, we're doing a new thing, I'm going to get rid of that channel. And then you're like, what? I paid for this. So once the technology improves to where all those functionalities start to be baked in, I think that it's going to really have a lot more longevity. Just this first crop is going to be maybe not.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think, like, from what I'm seeing, even in the marketing and the affiliate side, like, even go like, something's
Mm-hmm.
hot, like they sell that,
Mm-hmm.
everyone's jumping on board, and then as soon as a couple, 2, 3 months, everyone's it's gone through that, and then they dump it, chase the next big thing, and then it's always like this that. cycle of
Mm-hmm.
finding a new shiny object and make money with that. Okay, done. No more money. Too many people know that. Next, so it's always like that cycle
Yeah.
that it seems to be repeating, right? And those projects might have a tough time, for longevity.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it might just be like a short-term thing. Although, like bigger projects, or maybe the ones using Ethereum or whatnot, then they
Mm-hmm.
might they might stay a bit longer if it's solid that way. But people might invest some stuff, but just be careful because it might go pretty fast and then be worth like nothing. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll discover that in the coming months or years, even.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about Solana, right? Because Solana's
Oh
been
yeah,
everyone's kind of thing. And basically, it appear Solana has experienced a few major outages in the last few months, I guess. And the thing about Solana, right? And I need to at some point do a little bit more of a deep dive into it, but the entire the idea of Bitcoin, the original design of Bitcoin was very well like created, calibrated. Uh, the economics were figured out. Everything worked really well, but slow, maybe like some limitations, but it's a very but basically trying to make the most decentralized as far as they could system in the world for money, and there you go. And then when you start to do something like then Ethereum, I feel like copied a lot of Bitcoin's design, tried to do a lot of the same things, but tried to go, you know, compromise on some things in order to do all the crazy stuff that's on Ethereum. And I feel like Solana is almost the other end of the spectrum entirely. It's not like, well, I'll try to be decentralized, and then, well, I'll try to be not as decentralized or not as, you know, immutable, but like you could do all this cool stuff to where now at this end you have pretty centralized, not like, but you can just get tons of throughput and stuff. Is that kind of your impression of like the way they've gone as well?
yeah. I think that's and like I haven't looked at Solana that much, but if it's that's the case, like more into like scalability, like EOS was, like it was
Mm-hmm.
super successful, was like number three at some point, and now they've gone down like quite a
Mm-hmm.
bit. So they might, and again, it comes back to what we discussed earlier, to like projects like that, like which one's going to be here, like in the top, let's say like 10 in a few
Mm-hmm.
years, like Avalanche, Solana. Are they going to go through times? Because it seems like it's really tough to um, beat Ethereum or Bitcoin at this point. So like,
Yeah.
but I guess it's probably a good strategy to just go at the end of the other end of the spectrum, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't think by doing the same as Ethereum you're gonna beat them, because I think they're well established now and Ethereum is there, and it's tough to almost build something similar and trying to go against it, since they have the
Mm-hmm.
market going for them, and it's just so yeah, they're probably attempting that. Am I convinced that that project's going to be there in a few years?
Mm-hmm.
Potentially not. Same as like Cardano, Avalanche, even Chainlink was up there like last year, and then they're already like gone down, right? So it seems to be like quick movers in the you know let's say in the top 10, but like switching maybe from like 5 to 12 or whatever, that might still offer a lot of movement in that area, obviously. And I think it'd be tough to move one and two, but we'll
Yeah.
we'll have to see.
I think it's been interesting because Solana's had a lot of like VC money behind it, right? They have a ton of money, and that
Okay.
gets you a lot of places. It's like, oh, if you have a ton of money, you get a ton of headlines, you get a ton of everything. And I remember someone was like at that point, someone was sharing like, oh, there's this new social network that might like use like Reddit might use something associated with Solana for something, and I'm like, oh wow, like they had like something crazy like $100 million behind this initiative, and I was like, wow, that's insane. And then I remember that I looked up at how much EOS spent on voice.com. Do you remember that whole project?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Is that
it
still
was
going strong, or
no, it's dead.
oh, is it?
Voice, if you go to voice.com, you can go right now if you want. It just there's
Yeah, I created
it's
an account back then, and I don't know, like I haven't been there for a while. So
yeah, it has been a it was just a giant flush, and that was like more than that even. It was like over $100 million, I believe, they put into, because they got the domain. The domain was very expensive. It was like
Yeah.
millions for the domain, but then just building the platform, and then they had everyone KYC, and it was only US users, and it just like they didn't figure out like the whale problems, and it just ended up being a giant, as far as I know, a giant disaster. And so never underestimate how quickly you can waste a ton of money. How little how little actual staying power and utility that can come behind. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of like big money behind like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then things like Solana and stuff like that. And things like Bitcoin, Ethereum have a solid enough base and track record that they're gonna, whether or not they're gonna be the top networks is debatable, but they're definitely gonna have staying power. But then the newer ones can, what happens when they burn through their entire war chest? Maybe slow and steady wins the race, or who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And yeah, for Solana, it seems like yeah, they probably put some money in there. Like I haven't really followed Solana. Like everyone was kind of
Mm-hmm.
investing in that. I think there's even Luna, Terra Luna, or whatever I'm
Yeah.
seeing that's going up as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else? There was yeah, Cardano, obviously. Although Cardano, I just myself like I don't get it. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing built on Cardano, and they
Yeah.
barely even had like the smart contracts, and they were like number three. I'm like, yeah, Cardano. I'm like, wow, it's like a giant bubble of air. Like, like what is there in that? Like even
Yeah.
like other crypto, like EOS is more useful than Cardano. Like, what the hell? But that's just my opinion. Maybe a Cardano maxi or whatever would say otherwise. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see it. Sorry, but obviously the market is up there. But I just don't understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm starting to like wrap my head around this. Of course, I'm still learning. I know nothing about crypto. I've been in it for 8 years. I still know nothing. It's just trying to wrap my head around, just learning as I go. But I have a feeling that in 2017, the speculative bubble was kind of on like new chains and like what are the base protocol, what can it do, and everyone was throwing like, oh, IOTA is going to power everything, and they just threw money into IOTA, and like, oh, like this is going to, they started throwing lots of money into like raw protocols. It's like a raw natural resource, and
Yep.
then a lot of that just didn't work out because nothing got built on it. And then now there's a little more, but it's more like based on like use case. It's like people are investing in, like, for example, DeFi and NFTs, and they're buying a lot of tokens on platforms they think are delivering those things, which is why all the Ethereum killer kind of type, the asset class has really been doing well. But I think that when you hit the next bull market, like that whole cycle, or rather in the future, I don't think you're going to see very much more investing in raw protocols. I think you're going to see people investing in end user apps and therefore the protocols that can enable them. So like people
Within
want,
that,
yeah.
yeah.
It's so it's like the limitations of these actual protocols are going to be shown by when the end user apps don't work out on them and they have to build it on something else. And so like for example, as far as I'm aware, I can't use Ethereum much anymore because I touch it and then my I lose money. I'm like, oh, Ethereum, whoops, oh shit, I lost a lot of money. It's so expensive,
Yeah.
but it seems to work. The thing is,
Yeah.
can you get something that works as well and keeps on growing and people are excited to build new great things on, but it works as well and is not as expensive, and then you see more things jump on that thing. And I don't know so the thing with Solana, right? Its problem has been from denial of service attacks, DDoS attacks, right? Where people have basically flooded the network with things. And
Hmm.
I think that like that has been a problem with, that has not been a problem with things like Bitcoin and Ethereum, really, because we hate those high fees. But when the high fees hit, you can still just pay more and get your transaction through. It's just that if you don't have all that money, you gotta wait. Whereas if they don't have that sort of well maintained fee market at those higher levels, then people can just like throw all kinds of crap through the network and you just you got to wait, or it breaks the whole network. Like, it's happened with this 17-hour outage in Solana, and then some more outages, and that happened in Nano too. Nano got spam attacked because they have no fees, and the whole network was all like out of sync for I think months or something like that. I don't even know if they fixed the underlying. I think everything is synced up and working
Yeah, I'm not
okay, but
sure. Yeah.
it's so IOTA had the same problem too, and they were even like instantly they had to use a centralized node called the coordinator to work, and then instantly pretty much someone started spamming tons of messages on the network that had the message fuck the coordinator, and then they just crashed the whole network, and they're like, oh, how do we figure this out? So all these I love that people are experimenting with these new things, but they have to find they need fees, or they have to find some other kind of substitute for fees, some kind of thing where people can't just for no cost to themselves spam the network. Like maybe you'll have and IOTA is doing a couple interesting things now, since they've been kind of trying to rebuild everything about that are to avoid the fee model, where basically if you stake IOTA, you can get a resource called mana, which then you can spend on fees. So you can't spam the network unless you already stake for amount and generate this. And of course, you could sell mana to other people if they want. So it's kind of like it is a fee for some people, but not for everyone. And it's a supposedly a resource that like goes away over time. It's not just like proof of stake where you get staking money and you get rich over time. It's like it rots, kind of like vegetables. So you have to use them.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting way. It's still kind of a fee. You need some sort of a limitation, or you need it on a permissionless network. You could make a permissioned network where you need to be like, well, we have to verify who you are, that you're okay before you can use it. But then that's kind of anti-crypto. So it'll be very interesting to see how these big networks sort of.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think that's why we see still, BTC and Ethereum being one and two. I think even if I don't like it all the time, because obviously I try to use Ethereum, and then you just try to connect like MetaMask, and then let's say you got like Binance, BUSD, and then you want to switch it for whatever crypto, and then you need like to pay fees to use that coin first, and then you pay fees again to do that transfer. So it's like
Yeah.
it's insane. And then let's say you end up, oh, I'm going to cancel it. Well, it still charge you probably.
Yeah.
So that's annoying. But I think people like they still focus on like probably network stability, security. So that's why they might go slow and expensive. But at least I think that still has the most of the market adoption at this point is really like the slow and expensive, because they have the security aspect or decentralization more than BTC than Ethereum. At least the way that's the way I'm seeing it at the moment, because still most of the money is into that.
Yeah, it's funny because there's a lot of arguments in crypto about, oh, our way is better. No, our way is better. This is better. That's better. But at the end of the day, you start to see that there's a lot of similarities in like the way design architecture works. Certainly some chains, are better than others. Like Avalanche supposedly pioneered this like interesting new consensus model that made mass scaling on chain a lot easier. But then Avalanche fees have started to go up. Like they're not expensive yet, but they're like, you can pay a few dollars for like some of these operations now, and it's like, ooh, well, that's starting to get into like Ethereum. Of course, they solved part of it, but there's just our natural scaling limits somewhere, and it seems like every network at some point is going to need like some sort of like an off-chain type scaling solution. Like they need like a two chains method, and so it's funny
Yeah.
because every blockchain project that's relatively successful is going in this kind of direction, but in completely different ways. Like Bitcoin is like 7 transactions a second. Screw you, that's all we're ever doing. And so it's just for moving big chunks of money. And then literally everything else, they're pushing the Lightning Network, which is like, oh, like smaller payments, or some people are talking about doing Web3 stuff on Lightning, but I personally think that's going to be a little more. It's going to be tricky because it's hard to build all that in. And then you have Ethereum, which again, everything on chain, but it just too congested and expensive. So now they're putting everything on these little L2s, which I don't know why there's like 8 million L2s. Like, why can't they just have like
Yeah,
one or
there's
two?
different there's a whole wheel
Yeah.
of protocols and so on. Like, but probably the most used one is like Polygon, like Matic, right? And
Yeah.
it's always like more like of a breeze to use that as opposed to Ethereum, although it's almost kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But
And
it seems like then loop ring, what's it, ZK rollups, the bunch of terms, right? So you need an entire ecosystem to make Ethereum work, essentially. So yeah, that one chain thing, like you say, might be difficult to accomplish. It always needs like other tools that goes with
yeah.
it to make it sure it works, especially at scale and with more people. Because now, um, I don't know what's the percentage of planet that's using Ethereum. So imagine now if you
Everyone
triple
does. Yeah.
that, like how much the fee's going to be.
Mm-hmm. It's so it's funny because I recently did a little bit of a deep dive, not deep dive, but I did some research into smart BCH, and it appears like Bitcoin Cash is doing the exact same type of thing because all the money payments are on the main chain, but then they built a some EVM compatible smart contract network on a completely different chain, on a side chain that has it's based on it's like a Tendermint, like a Cosmos based chain that they added some parallelization to where it's like 5 different pieces of the blockchain are being processed in parallel, so it's like a lot more scalable, and it's also like it's a delegated proof of work because if you need they need you need to be a Bitcoin Cash miner in order to run one of these, smart
Okay.
BCH nodes and stuff. But again, it's the same thing. It's like the money chain is just, under subcent fees still, but like just for payments. But when you need fast, you know, operations and stuff, that's on this other like super scalable kind of specialized chain. And then, for example, with you have like the whole Dash platform approach, the same thing. The main chain is just money, just payments, and then they're doing this platform chain, this also Tendermint, Cosmos based side chain that works for just the data operations and is way more scalable, but has a lot more of these kind of compromises and stuff. And so
Hmm.
I think that's kind of the way of the future. And one of the things is with like I guess things like Solana is when you try this like super high throughput stuff on the main chain, and everyone's going to be jumping in on that main chain, and then the people that really need to like spend money won't be able to do it because it's all clogged up. So segregating those two use cases seems to be kind of the way forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I'm not sure what that's gonna end up going, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously, like scalability, like it seems like it's a problem for like each chain, like even like
Mm-hmm.
wasn't it Horizon as well that's trying to do like the side chains.
Yeah.
I think there was some partnerships with Dash. I didn't follow that too closely, but
Yeah.
um, I don't know what that's all about, but even they're kind of going that way as well, having
Mm-hmm.
like offloading some stuff on other chains to kind of hopes of
Yeah.
scaling, networks. And we're probably going to see more and more of that concept being introduced, um, even more so than older coins that the masternode coins and stuff that are probably going to slowly fade
Yeah.
away. It be more like the NFT side,
Yeah.
scaling what's existing, dApps within the main ones, like you said before. Um, yeah.
Yeah. It seems like bridging is really the big thing where
Yep.
you you lock up you lock up some coins on one chain and then you mint tokens on another chain that is easier to use out, which that's kind of what the Lightning Network is kind of like. You bridge Bitcoin to Lightning is kind of like it's sort of a weird
Yeah.
primitive kind of way of doing, but it's the same thing. You bridge it over. You could bridge like Ethereum to like Binance or whatever else and get
Hmm.
tokens on that chain. There's a million things, and then like all L2s are kind of bridging. Like with Dash platform, you kind of convert some Dash to like platform credits, and that like locks up and bridges it. It's all like everything is bridging. And the thing is, there's been a lot of centralized bridging. Like for example, Smart BCH right now, there's a company, CoinFlex, that bridges for you. And right,
Okay.
they're trying to decentralize it. So hopefully in the next year there'll be a decentralized bridge. But that's going to be the big thing is decentralized bridging and decentralized cross-chain swaps like what Thorchain does. And then a lot of these problems just won't be a problem anymore because you get to just bridge all your, say, Ethereum or whatever onto something else easily, and then you just do all your stuff, and everything kind of
Yep.
connects that way, and everything kind of scales that way. And I don't think we'll really need to matter that much.
Yeah, yeah, especially the one you mentioned, Thor chain. That's one of
Mm-hmm.
them that I have to look into a bit more because up until like I think you started talking about it a few months ago, I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
about it. So, and it seems like there's some stuff going on with Dash on there. Maybe like it's more like a
Yeah.
Dex where you can stake your Dash on there and whatever else. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to dig a bit more into that one. It seems like a great project that could be a big one in the
Mm-hmm.
next few months or a year.
Yeah. So that's something that it's a little. I'm still trying to predict how the space is going to move here because uh, at first it was like each coin that was like a Bitcoin, each altcoin, as it were, had its one thing that it did. Like, oh, Monero does the privacy thing, and Dash does the fast transactions, and you can do the master nodes, and then like, whatever else does, library lets you make videos and stuff, and like everything does the one thing, and then
Hmm.
eventually it seems to have moved to today. Everything needs to have like EVM compatible smart contracts. Not necessarily EVM compatible, but smart contracts. Everything needs to be able to do smart contracts because without that, you can't do DeFi and NFTs. And you can do NFTs. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't looked in too closely the way the BSV people are doing it, but it's all on chain. The problem is the whole like NFT marketplace thing requires smart contracts, and so it's a little bit more of a trusted thing. It's not as cool like the people like it and stuff. And so like there's more limited, but basically everyone wants to be able to do that. And so now it's like people don't care about your chain unless you have smart contracts and can do DeFi and NFTs. Now on the other side
Yeah.
though, with stuff like Thorchain, although I've been looking into a couple other competitors to Thorchain, like Incognito seems like a very interesting one. Although I've seen some like I guess red flags and stuff on there. So, but then also Varen Finance supposedly is something that I was just made aware of in the last day or so by someone who's kind of affiliated with someone on the team. But there's a bunch of these
Okay.
like cross chain dexes that kind of now you won't need in the future you won't need to do everything native on chain as long as you can do something on a different chain. So for example, if you have, let's just say Binance, you have Binance token, you
Hmm.
can get BUSD or whatever, you can get the Binance, you can get on Pancake Swap and then start swapping assets around, and then you can stake your Binance tokens and make money, provide liquidity.
Yep.
You can't do that on Litecoin. Except with Thorchain, you can do that on Litecoin. You can just now all of a sudden you can stake Litecoin, and I think today it's like 17% APY or something, which is it's not going to be that high forever, but like now all of a sudden you can do DeFi with Litecoin without Litecoin actually changing. And there's an interesting thing with the Incognito project. It is like a Thorchain like decentralized exchange, but they also have an interesting like wrapping feature. It's like a Monero similar to Monero like uh, ring signature based privacy coin type thing. But so what you can do with the Incognito wallet, again, I haven't used it yet, but and there's a few red flags about the project that I'll maybe talk about later. But just for informational purposes, you could say deposit onto Incognito. It gets bridged. Your BTC gets bridged into PBTC, and you
Hmm.
can trade it around and swap it for other like PLTC, whatever, like private stuff. And whenever you're done, you can just go back out into the native thing. And so it's like, okay, well, does Litecoin really need Mimblewimble or something to try to increase their privacy if you can just bridge it to, you know, Incognito PLTC? Or even if Incognito crashes and fails, there's going to be something else you can do that
Hmm.
will be something like that. And so I wonder if because all this functionality is going to be unlocked on chains that don't natively support it, I wonder what's going to give those chains value in the future. Like, it's not, oh, we can do DeFi too. It's like, well, everything can do DeFi even if you can't do DeFi. But then what is it going to be? Is it going to be like stable, slow emission? Is it going to be super good blockchain security? Is it going to be? It's going to be a lot of things, but eventually, I believe it will be what can you actually do as far as end user applications with the coin. So, like for example, if let's just say you could spend Dash everywhere, and not you
Hmm.
can't really do that with other coins, and because they don't have the integrations, they don't have the fast finality of transactions, and so then people would just say, well, I'll do all my DeFi stuff, but I'm going to get Dash and do it instead because I'm going to move from P Dash or Ren Dash. Let's say Dash gets added to the Ren project eventually or whatever else,
Hmm.
or I'll just stake it on Thorchain, and then I'll take it and be able to spend it here, or that's just kind of the way I see it,
Yeah.
but I'm still very fuzzy on that in my head. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, they could be. Yeah, it could be one thing because it seems like, and even now, like you were mentioning about privacy, it seems like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of projects, even like Zcash, trying to do adjustments. Maybe not so much on the security privacy part, but like maybe
Mm-hmm.
proof of stake, and then there's like Wimble with Litecoin. Other coins are kind of, even Bitcoin apparently try to go for like some privacy features. So
Mm-hmm.
it could be that, like I didn't even know like incognito or something like that, but
Yeah.
I would need to look at that one too. But yeah, it's possible that if it allows to do that on there, and definitely like you said with staking stuff on another chain, like it could be like with the bridges now, it
Mm-hmm.
could be even like xDIDE, it's now Gnosis chain,
Mm-hmm.
it could be Polygon, BSC, so you can swap your coins like easily, especially Ethereum and Bitcoin for now, and then stake it there and wrap it to whatever. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that takes us uh, in that aspect. But yeah, it's quite possible that um, that we see that even like in the next few months.
Yeah. End user apps is where it's at, I believe. Now, last
Yeah.
thingy. Paraguay moves a step closer to regulating digital currency. So there's some bill that was seeking to kind of add a regulatory framework around crypto that was introduced in July and is now moving forward. The Senate approved a thing, and it explicitly states that mining will be a legal activity because allegedly Paraguay produces more energy than it consumes. So with an energy surplus, that's a great opportunity for mining, for example. And
Hmm.
so basically, it seems like a lot of countries, but particularly South America, is moving into, I guess, legitimize crypto to make crypto like a part of their economy. And yeah, I don't know. Where first off, what do you just think of this? And second, do you think that a lot of this is as a indirect or direct result of El Salvador's whole Bitcoin experiment?
Yeah, it's funny. Like I was actually watching something yesterday about
Mm-hmm.
like adoption in Latin America, and it seems like quite popular. Especially yeah, um, Ryan Taylor was there, right? That
Yeah.
one I'm referring to, the Coin Market Cap one with
Mm-hmm.
what was her name? Jess Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And then so they were going about that stuff, and it seems like really popular place, and people are like with the inflation, and then we're starting to see that right
Mm-hmm.
now a little bit more in America, Canada as well. Inflation has gone up over the
Yeah.
last couple months, so we're kind of
Pretty
facing
crazy.
we might be facing the same issues. So I think that's why it's really popular there, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure by seeing El Salvador moving that way, that's why Paraguay is kind of moving that direction, even though with El Salvador, there's still like big challenges, like as far as like is it really decentralized? Is it like a wallet, like a
Mm-hmm.
government owned wallet? So is that like a complete solution? Is that really 100% what it is supposed to be? I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
yeah, they're probably moving that way because it happened somewhere before, but it looks like almost like part of some kind of an agenda that they started in El Salvador first and to make a point.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's not 100% convinced with the whole El Salvador adoption, so that's why I would have some
Yeah.
doubts about Paraguay as well.
Well, it's funny because a lot of like Panama unveiled a very sweeping crypto provisions that weren't like mandates, but were basically legalizing or giving explicit legal protections to cryptocurrencies and things like that, and blockchains and DAOs. They even mentioned DAOs in there and stuff. And a few different countries have talked about that. El Salvador is the one that just went big, went BTC only supposedly. Oh, there's a dirty secret about that. But and then they said, you know, um, they kind of like it's mandated by law. And of course, a lot of this adoption miracle thingy has been they airdropped everyone like $30 of Bitcoin that they could get out into USD in the ATMs, and they used those ATM withdrawal statistics of this free fiat that they gave everyone to count as users, even though it's like
Hmm.
you just give people free money, they're getting their free money out. And rumor has it that the Chivo app, the government run app that processes all this stuff, the back end people assumed it would be like on Lightning Network, that's how it would work. But supposedly back end it actually runs on Algorand, and it's not super confirmed, but if you look at my buddy Mark Falzon, his tweets have been pretty crazy there because he actually went down to El Salvador and like experienced stuff himself, and he's done some really great
Yeah,
research on
yeah.
that kind of stuff. So that's something to look out for. It's I wonder what the maxis will say about that with but it again it kind of goes to what I was saying of people want to use Bitcoin, but instead they're using a centralized bridge to bridge Bitcoin to Algorand, which is then using all, or if it's not Algorand, it's centralized infrastructure. It's not even a blockchain to do all their
Hmm.
business, and then they get Bitcoin out when they're done with it. It's like literally just the bridging that we can kind of come to expect. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think the world could move a lot towards the bridging.
Or the same thing with maxis. They're trying to, or they want adoption, but they're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
let's move away from the current banking system. But then they turn around and are super happy when, I don't know, Mastercard adopts it, or um, I don't know, like ETFs and so on, like regular financial
Mm-hmm.
products. Like, oh yeah, let's do that now. It's mass adoption, yeah, but you're just kind of part of the same system now. So they're promoting be against it, but they're super happy because numbers, go up eventually because of those news, right? So it's kind of funny
Mm-hmm.
the dynamic between like wanting something different, but also being super happy when the banks adopt it because
Mm-hmm.
it pumps the price.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, so we were going to mention something about Jack Dorsey and stuff, but we should probably wrap up the show instead.
Yeah,
Maybe next
no
week
problem.
we'll for the New Year's special.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so any last questions, real quick? I would encourage you to not give me money for this because it won't get through in time. Just any last questions, post in the regular chats. But if not, this is a good time to tell people about all the stuff you got going on and where people can go to follow you and your great work, Sylvan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm super active on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Syl Cloutier, so my last name. I know it's a bit difficult to say it, especially for Anglophones.
So
Like
it's
my name
SYL
is,
Cloutier.
yeah, Syl Cloutier. That's my yeah, on Twitter. And then off that, like I did a lot of English interviews, especially
Mm-hmm.
not so much over the last month or so, and but also been lately focusing on a French podcast, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of running, especially because I live in Canada and in Quebec,
Mm-hmm.
where my main first language is French. So, and I don't see a lot of people involved in crypto in French. That's the reason why I was like, well, as opposed to be like one of many in English, like how about I started in French, then hopefully I can be like a resource for friends and
Mm-hmm.
family, and then from
Nice.
that point on grow it to more people, to reach more people, help them out in getting started in crypto and so on. So that's Zone Crypto in French, right?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been super active either in the last 4 weeks for the same reason,
Of course,
but
holidays and
I think I'm
stuff.
Yeah, but I'm preparing some stuff for the new year. Hopefully, I'll come
Mm-hmm.
back. Maybe not as often as I used to because my work has been like super busy, new job. But I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to get more people involved and really get those like the beginners
Mm-hmm.
in there. Get them started. Invest I don't know $100. Get yourself set up with a nice wallet. Start learning the basics, and then go from there.
Yeah.
And then after that, people can discover by doing their own research and so on, but at least understanding and having like a resource
Mm-hmm.
where they can ask questions if they don't feel comfortable getting the ball started.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thanks very much for being on. Oh, everyone,
Yeah, thanks for the
obviously,
invite.
if you're watching, like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow him on Twitter. I assume you're on Twitter. If you're in crypto and you're not on Twitter, you got to be on Twitter. It's just where all the action happens. Like Jack Dorsey talking shit about Web3. It's all there. You definitely want
Yeah,
to follow him on Twitter and also follow his podcasts and stuff like that. And next week is another Thursday podcast, except this time we're gonna have the Dash podcast as well right after. Like I usually do the back-to-back
nice.
ones every other week. It's a back-to-back one, so that'll both be on Thursday. And so yeah, the day before New Year's Eve, the eve of New Year's Eve, because no one's gonna do anything on New Year's Eve. No one's gonna be like 4 p.m. in the afternoon just like listen to these. They're gonna be getting ready to get drunk or something. So
More than
they're not.
likely, yeah.
Yeah, so Thursday. And so
Yeah.
now I'm doing, usually I only do talk about this after the Dash podcast, but since it's been a while, I do a thing called the after party, which is, it's like a Zoom type call with a bunch of people just like this, just hanging out after the. So if you want to get in on that, you can just message me wherever you know, like Twitter, Telegram, if you know me on Facebook, or if I'm on Discord, wherever, just message me you want in on the after party. And I have the desert links, not desert Linux, but desert links. That's what I'm on Twitter, Telegram, everywhere. So try to make it easy. Yeah. So anyway, everyone have a great Christmas, and I will see you once more before the year's over. And bye, Sylvan.
Yeah, thanks.